Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday live stream. I'm joined as ever by my friend, Jerry V. Hall. Jerry, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, Rob. Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a great Sunday.
Yeah, it's not a bad Sunday. Look, Bitcoin hasn't really gone down too much. Altcoins are ripping. Everybody's happy. Most people are happy. Unless there's always some people like in the meme coin community are like, hey, why isn't mine going up? But I think most things are going up. So I think it's looking pretty good. As a reminder, if you like what Jerry V. Hall is talking about, which you will pretty soon, there is a link in the description to check out Jerry over on the X account. Jerry, what's new with you, actually?
Well, a couple things. Launching my new company compute portal. Learning how to be sincere in my congratulations to the XRP community, which I left some years ago. That has come roaring back as of recently. Congratulations to you XRP folks. You're up, 488% for the year?
Oh my God.
Not bad.
496.1%, Jerry.
Okay, I apologize. My statistics were off a little bit, but yeah, holy tamale XRP.
Yeah, that's pretty big. Good for them. Good for those guys. I have a little XRP, but it wasn't like the big portion that some of the XRP Army members held. So, I mean, congratulations to you guys. I like what I see. It's looking pretty good. Not too bad. So let's. There's a couple of things to talk about. First of all, yesterday's video we talked about spreads across different exchanges. I highly encourage everybody to check out that video. And it was eye-opening, that's for sure. And I linked that in the description. Jerry, it was. I mean, we talked about it, but can you believe some of these spreads on some of these exchanges?
I can.
Between buy and sell, 8%, 2% for Coinbase. That's on top of this is just the spread, not the fees. Crypto.com 2.73, Kraken only 1.57. I'm just saying it was pretty crazy.
Hey, their shareholders are happy.
This is very true, actually. I could definitely see that. And then some people did ask me, they go, hey, why didn't you talk about iTRUST? I was like, oh, okay, well, I can talk about that now. So the video was it was like 12 minutes. I guess I got to squeeze in iTRUST, but just so you know, iTRUST, that's what I use for my Roth IRA. It's twofold. One, I use it for my Roth IRA for my retirement. And second, I'm using it for custody service, because I like the fact I get essentially institutional grade custody, just like BlackRock and just like Coinbase, or excuse me, just like MicroStrategy, who use Coinbase Prime, and that's what iTRUST uses. Anyhow, let's just do this real quick. Jerry, I need your math skills, okay?
Boy.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody buckle in. This ought to be good. So let's just say, like, this is the website. Let me refresh this, get the right price. Okay, so everybody see this price? 119,147, right? And I could buy $100 worth of that. The execution price is 119,147. However, what's the real price? Because it ain't 119,147. It is 118,586 on CoinGecko. If we go at CoinMarketCap, it's 118,606. And of course, different exchanges across the world are going to have it differently. So 118,606 versus 119,147. That's like $700, $750, somewhere around there. Everybody check my math. I'm going to say it's around 0.5% difference. Does that sound about right? 119,147.
0.5%.
0.5%.
That sounds normal.
Okay. So there you go. And then again, with spreads, when you're buying things on different exchanges, Kraken's, that's what I use all the time. That's 1.5. Crypto.com 2.73. Coinbase 2%, 8% for Binance. Just something to think about. But yeah, I mean, not too bad. So that's what we have in that piece. And before we get to the IMF versus El Salvador, I would just like to say that altcoins are doing great. And Jerry, I don't know if do you follow the Bitcoin dominance chart?
I haven't for a couple of years. Well, actually, since the 2021 peak, I kind of gave up on it. Right? It was like, okay, I get it, I understand. it came roaring back a little bit through that compression and kind of, when we came back to earth through 2022, 2023. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's that important anymore, because I really believe that Bitcoin has differentiated itself from the rest of the digital asset space. It's no longer apples and apples. They are actually apples and oranges. Therefore, what does it doesn't really matter to understand that ratio.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's, there's this guy, Ben Cohen, is yapping about it for quite like last 3 years I've done this show with him. And I got to tell you, he was right on this one as far as Bitcoin dominance. But as far as like with altcoins, like Jerry's, kind of pointed out, this is good because Bitcoin dominance drops, which means what? Then people aren't buying as much Bitcoin.
Or they're buying more alts, because the total
alts.
market cap of the space continues to increase year over year.
Yeah, that's true. What are we at today? Hey, we're almost at 4 trillion. I didn't know that. Anyhow, but Bitcoin over 24 hours, 0.4. Look at Ethereum, Jer, almost 6%. XRP, like you rightly pointed out, 2.4. This is odd to see altcoins going, and this is what makes people, what makes me happy. Look at Litecoin. What the hell happened there? Anyhow, so dominance is going down, altcoins are going up. And then also, before we get to the El Salvador thing, the Ethereum ETF flows are becoming massive. This is in millions. And as of, what's the date today? 20th? Yeah. 20th of July. This is Fridays and Thursdays because, ETFs don't work on the weekends like all the others, the banks stuff. You're looking at 394, 546, and almost $500 million of inflows just from BlackRock. I think they're really the only ones. You've got, who is this? Fidelity at a paltry 17%. Well, 70%, 17 million, 113, versus the Bitcoin ETF, which is still holding strong. But I remember when the Ethereum ETF was a joke, and now look at it. Jerry, thoughts?
Well, I'm curious to the participation level of, say, remember the Grayscale Ethereum trust that they had, that they did the little they were trying to do the conversion. I'm not even sure if that actually happened and who is underwriting that element. I'm happy to see Ethereum doing well, and I'll tell you what it represents to me. It doesn't represent Ethereum the asset. It represents what Ethereum presents to the world, and that is programmable digital assets. Right? The world views, well, not the world, the industrial players, the people that come from Wall Street, Ethereum to them is the programmable digital asset space. That's true. They see the value in that, as we've seen the value in that for a long time, right? People who have NFTs, people who are doing DeFi, all of these things come from the ability to program these blockchain protocols. Yeah. Okay, right. This is wonderful stuff, right? Again, I keep going back to this Yahoo Google thing. There's a couple of elements, right? Mm-hmm. Ethereum has an inflation rate of the asset every year. I think it's 4.23%, something like that, 4 point something. So it's going to inflate its supply consistently every year. You can just bet your bottom dollar on it. So will the demand continue to outstrip the inflation rate? Let's hope so. That way you'll get that pressure to go up and to the right. But is it the kind of product that is truly going to be the bedrock for programmable digital assets 20 years from now, 10 years from now? I don't know. And I listen to people who kind of know, and they tell me, no, most likely not. So therefore, I keep seeing this Yahoo Google comparison thing. Is Yahoo still around today? Yes, it is.
Yes,
is it the dominant search? Is it the dominant Web3 expansion vehicle? No, it isn't. And so I think people need to understand that. And I'll continue to be proven wrong until I'm proven right.
You know what's funny about what you said is that I know people made a killing in Yahoo stock because they were like, hey, we got on the ground early. This is the winner. It wasn't Ask Jeeves. It wasn't Hotbox or whatever else it was out there. It was Yahoo. And I think for us who are investing into the early plays, you can do great. You don't have to hold Ethereum for the next 50,000 years. You can just go, hey, you know what? This worked out pretty good for the last 8, but there's this new king on the block, and I'll go that route. But that's why you have to be in the markets, kind of watch.
You know what? You make the point. That is the case for Ethereum.
Yeah.
I own. Hey, don't get me wrong. It's not like I don't own Ethereum. I own Ethereum,
Oh,
and
I know you do.
it's staking. I'm just not. I'm not going to say it is what I will build the foundation of my life on.
Yeah. Might as well.
Where I will with Bitcoin, and I'm starting to get that way with ADA, to be perfectly honest with you.
Wow.
Cardano's just really showing me a lot these last couple of cycles.
It's looking good, but there's one thing that we do have to talk about, which is the elephant in the room, which I think is going to be a bigger play. I think this is going to be a bigger story on Monday, as everybody has to wake up and really pay attention. And it was this. This was from a guy in the gang over at Coin Bureau. And before we talk about this, I will just mention this, is that because people will say, well, this information is from the IMF, so it's BS, and they're just predatory lenders, which they are, and they're trash, debatable, and all these things. But the information we're going to give you comes right from El Salvador, from the people who are within and ingrained into that Bitcoin operation. So some of this is from the IMF, but a big chunk of this is from El Salvador saying, like, look, we didn't buy any. Crazy, right? This is what we got. So this is the letter of intent. This is from San Salvador to Miss Kristalina Georgieva, nailed it, managing director of the IMF. So this is not the IMF sending a letter to San Salvador or El Salvador. It is El Salvador sending the IMF a letter. And they're stating, dear Miss Georgieva, under the decisive leadership of President Bukele, El Salvador remains strongly committed to continue addressing macroeconomic imbalances. Before I get to, I guess, the bombshell, just so everybody knows, El Salvador did take a loan from the IMF. It was $1.4 billion, which, Jerry, first of all, this is in December 2024. As part of the agreement, El Salvador, they committed to scale back its involvement with Bitcoin. And a key aspect of that is to reduce its involvement with Bitcoin, which specifies that Bitcoin acceptance will be voluntary and that public sector engagement with Bitcoin-related activities will be confined, which is fine. So what you do is you tell the vendors, like, look, I know we forced on you, but we're not going to force on you. It's voluntary, because that's what we deal with the IMF. And that's how it really should be. You should have choices, right? But Jerry, here's my question to you. What do you think about this deal that they made back in 2024? Do you think it was a good deal, bad deal? And what could they have done differently if it was a bad deal?
I'm not a big fan of the IMF or the World Bank. I think they're kind of like predatory lenders. They're like those folks that'll give you a payday loan, right? And charge you 28% or 30% or whatever it is. So that kind of sets the tone for my thoughts around that. So obviously, I don't think it was a very good deal. It happened in December of 2024, which is not that long ago. And I'm thinking to myself, with El Salvador's initial stance into Bitcoin, why didn't they just figure out a way to tap the U.S. credit markets and do exactly what Saylor's doing with creating bonds, acquiring new Bitcoin, with that collateral, creating more bonds to acquire more Bitcoin? They would have scaled their position to such a point where, you know, it's like, especially in this bull run. I mean, can you imagine what the next 12 months, if they adopted that kind of thing? They would not need to do that. Like, I guess they currently only hold 6,200 something, according to that, which is what, $800 million. So they don't have enough to borrow against their current Bitcoin, but they could put out bonds. They could do things in the capital market. Why go to payday loan when you could go to Bank of America and get a 3% mortgage? There's a part of that I don't understand. Sigma
Cadabra said it poignantly. Bukele didn't want to be murdered. That's pretty much what it came down. See there. Okay, so now we know.
Keep breathing. Okay, I get that.
Okay, so back to this story. So, and just like I was talking about in this piece, I think the big sentence is here, where it states, in addition, in line with commitments under the program, the stock of Bitcoins held by the public sector remains unchanged, and we are taking steps to mitigate fiscal risks by reducing the public sector's role in the Chivo wallet and referring to the Bitcoin project. So what they're saying is, and again, I'll read this again, in line with commitments under the program, the stock of Bitcoins held by the public sector remains unchanged. So the IMF came out and said, oh, so you didn't buy any more, but President Bukele came out and said that you did. So I'm not here to say someone's lying, but someone's either confused, and it could be the IMF or it could be El Salvador. We're going to get more information. And I took this out and I thought to myself, okay, well, this would be, you know, a good place to see what it, because Bukele likes to tweet. And so far, he hasn't said anything about that yet. Looks like there was, they liberated 80 political prisoners in Venezuela. That's pretty great. But nothing about this particular story so far. And, you know, I will just say that there is a report, International Monetary Fund. I have it. I'm looking for the link. I'll link it in the description. But if you do a Google search for El Salvador International Monetary Fund, this was just released. And to make this easy, you can just press Command F and just take a look at Bitcoin. It's referenced 221 times. And in somewhere here, I think down as you go, it'll talk about how there was no, and then the Chivo wallet and the different wallets. And it wasn't just one Chivo wallet, which the Chivo wallet is the wallet that they use specifically. It was made for El Salvador by El Salvadorians. And that was the one for Bitcoin. But it wasn't just one wallet address. It was multiple addresses that they gave to the IMF so they could monitor as well. And they're saying, look, this hasn't changed. But it is interesting, though, because on bitcointreasuries.net, just like Jerry pointed out, you'll see it right here. Bitcoin holdings going back to, well, let's go back to October 2024. I think everybody can see this line. Of course, the line in green is the Bitcoin price, but Bitcoin holdings for El Salvador has only increased. So I wonder where they get their information from. If it's from, I mean, it's got to be from not just tweets, right? You can't just do a trust me, bro, on this. You got to be able to. You got to be able to actually, you know, look at this and say, yeah, this is it's on chain. We have it right here. But the other wallets that was given the IMF's state it's not. Jerry, thoughts?
Some really cool person is going to use the immutable transparency of Bitcoin to make the case. I don't know if it's been made well enough yet. You can go to Perplexity. You can go to these different things. You get kind of stuff that's almost ambiguous. You get state actors, right? People who actually hold positions in the government will tell you, we have not purchased a single Bitcoin since March of 2025. But then again, you can look at analytics like you just showed us, where you can actually, it is grafting the increase of the asset up till today, not March of 2025. It didn't stop at March 2025. So I don't know who to believe on this. I think I need more time and more information to come to it. But just knowing they hold 6,242 today is really encouraging for me. I'd like to see more countries get involved.
Yeah, I would like to too. And you know what? This is what it really comes down to. It's what Real Raid says. Who cares? Who cares how much Bitcoin is El Salvador is buying in comparison to Sailor and the ETFs and everybody else? That's a good point. Jerry, what do you think?
Well, I believe it or not, as much as I like what Sailor did for Bitcoin, I would like to see other people hold it. You know what I mean? I would love to see a more distributed distribution of the asset amongst the players of the world, whether it be sovereign nations, corporations, or individuals like you and me.
Yeah. I think in the grand scheme of things, you look at that and you're like, well, who cares? It's just one Bitcoin. However, you know, that's the whole mantra of Bitcoin, that we want it to be transparent. Essentially, we want things to be truthful and out there in the open. And it kind of feels, if this is true, it kind of feels like a betrayal, in my opinion. On the grand scheme of things, what does this mean for my bags, my Bitcoin? Probably nothing, and everything will be fine. It's just that you look at this and go, I hope this isn't true. I hope there is something else out there. And we're going to find out this week, because there's smarter people than us that can do the deep dive delve into it. So we'll see.
Anthony Murphy brought up a great point, one that I didn't consider.
The graph you showed about how much Bitcoin they had included options trades they made. Okay, so explain this to everybody.
Okay, so when you make a call, right, you're basically saying, hey, this is going to be a price. We'll call it a strike price. And it could be the conversion of my Bitcoin into dollars or my conversion of dollars into Bitcoin. And the same with puts. That's how they work, call and puts. They're either side of that equation, right?
Right.
And if this graph where it says Bitcoin Treasuries Net is actually incorporating all of that activity as well as what they actually hold in their own cold wallets or hot wallets, then that would be really interesting. Because options are just that. They're options. When I say I will buy Bitcoin at this price in 90 days, if it's available,
right?
That isn't me making a purchase today. Matter of fact, it's not even a guarantee that I'll get Bitcoin at that price at that time. So you don't have the Bitcoin until you have the Bitcoin. And that's true with any call or put. You don't have it or not have it until that actually happens in the future. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Borrow against that shit.
You can borrow against that, but then you got to go into those types of platforms. And I have PTSD with lending, so I will not.
I can imagine.
So everybody, that's it for today's show. We just wanted to bring some information to you. Oh, Jerry, someone's calling you, and we just wanted to put information out there. Now, what we'll do is we'll do a little Q&A from here. If you guys got to go and take off, go enjoy the day. It's Sunday. You deserve it. Relax. Enjoy the day. But if you want to stick around, we'll do a little Q&A, answer all your questions to the best of our abilities, and then we'll go from there. So let's see. Before we go, people are saying that Chainlink's up by over 10%. Is that true?
Go Chainlink.
I don't know what. Chainlink is one of those projects that it's just awesome. It just was like a stable coin. It just never did anything. But things are moving, especially with the Genius Act just passed or signed into law by Presidente Trump. And now here we are. Did I pass it? Number 17. Yeah, look at that. Almost 9% in 24 hours, 23%. That's how it should go. 23% in 7 days. Yeah. And 50% over 30 days. So congratulations. Actually, you know what? Congratulations, everybody. Let's just be honest. Everybody went up. Everybody went Bitcoin. Most everybody in this chat went Bitcoin. And then a lot of other people, myself included, went into altcoins over some time frame and did pretty well. So we should be feeling pretty good. The next question really is, when are you going to sell? That's it. ADA. Oh, yeah. Jerry, any big projects you like on Cardano?
I'm a big fan of what Nathaniel Mitten has done with Agent
Decimalist.
Yeah, that's his Twitter handle, Decimalist. Yeah. I'm a big fan of what he's done with T. He's got a trading AI called Atom, which will use the T token. Yeah, I think there's a lot of promise in agents, AI agents performing tasks for us, whatever that task is. And if that task is about being in the financial markets and that agent can generate a revenue for us, I'm a huge fan, even if it's $1 a day, it doesn't matter. And therefore, if his token is part of that oil, that fuel that drives that, then there should be a real promising future for that token in that ecosystem.
Yeah. How about T? Can T be staked when you're talking about?
That's a really good question. I'll be honest. I've been so busy building Compute Portal for the last 50 days that I haven't been keeping up with a lot of those kind of things. So I couldn't tell you.
Here's a good question. Can Jerry be staked? No, that's not it.
Soon.
Soon.
Somebody stake me, put me out of my misery.
How about this one? What's the best coin to buy now? I think that's a pretty good question.
Oh, I was thinking about that. Somebody asked me about that from my investment club. And I basically gave this answer because I think it's logical. Look at your portfolio and what do you really believe in? And then look at where that coin is today relative to its all-time high that it's ever had, regardless of you owning it or not. The all-time high of that coin. And that if you believe in that coin, that's the coin you should be stocking up with. The one that is the farthest away from its historical all-time high.
You know what? Let's take a look at that, actually. So there's a great website. It's coingolive.com, coingolive.com. And there's a part here where it's just the all-time highs and how far away it is. So you can see that here, like, it'll give you the date of the all-time high, which Bitcoin is just a couple of 5 days ago or so, 6 days ago. Crazy. And then it'll tell you, and that's what you really want to look at, right? And then what that price is. Like, look at Ethereum. Ethereum's, man, it's been 4 years, 3.5. Last
2021, right?
Yeah, 2021, November 10th, 2021, 4,078. Right, yeah, and it gives you the date, how far away you are, and actually the price. So look at like XRP. Well, that was July 18th. Sorry. Hey, look at that. Solana is down, and also gives you like how far. Like, look at Solana. It's almost 40% down.
Look at Cardano, mi amigo.
Let's see.
71.99% away from its all-time high. So
that's pretty bad.
That's what you have right there in the advice that I gave my investment club person. Cardano would be the one they should be buying.
That's
if you're going to hold the token for the next 3 years.
Yeah. Look at Tron down 26.
Link XLM. Look at Link. Go Link HBAR.
That might be the token. I mean, if you want to think about like risk versus reward, first of all, I think Ethereum's gonna do great just because of there's two things. One is that I think there was an amendment for the ETF where institutional buyers can now stake and gain rewards for Ethereum, which is a game changer. That's like dividends in stocks. Why wouldn't they want to do that? And the next thing, of course, is all the different companies putting Ethereum on their balance sheet. I mean, look at Tom Lee from Fundstrat and all the rest of them. They're crushing it. But Chainlink, you know, everything, every project, every crypto chain, they need an oracle to pull that outside data, you know, onto the blockchain. And Chainlink is the clear winner.
In the VM world.
Yeah, in the VM world. What about non-VM? Anything out there?
You know, so I remember, why can't I not remember it's called Band, B-A.
Oh, yeah, B-A-N-D, right?
And Band was an oracle for that whole Cosmos SDK world.
Yeah.
Literally just trying to do exactly what Chainlink did. You know what? Chainlink is that pick and shovel kind of thing. You need it. It's not sexy. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not sexy. Chainlink isn't going to have the booth with the dancing girls and the bright lights and all the stuff. They're just kind of like, okay, we're here and we do work and it's an important function of the overall, and we'll just keep grinding away. They're that little engine that could, and they'll just keep doing that little thing. They'll probably be here in 30 years.
It's a good question. Yeah, maybe being 30. Hey, about this one, what percentages of Jerry's portfolio is Bitcoin? I don't even know.
Okay, so I need all the potential extortionists and terrorists and kidnappers to put their earmuffs on right now.
Well, Jerry, you're not going to give the amount because Jerry only has. Yeah, Jerry has $100 in crypto. That's it.
$100 in crypto.
And then so percentage of Bitcoin.
The portfolio right now is Bitcoin.
How much? What was that percentage, sir?
About 75.
So Jerry has $75 in Bitcoin.
$75 in Bitcoin.
And the other $25 is split between, I'm going to guess, Cardano, Ethereum, stuff like that.
I wish. It's a bunch of those Cosmos coins that I got sucked into liquidity pools and staking, high yield staking mechanisms and stuff.
Hey, I will say, I mean, Cosmos, everybody dumps on it, but, you know, Luna was built on Cosmos.
Tons of really good projects are.
Tons of.
Akash, one of the best projects on the board, is built on that Cosmos SDK. And if you're not looking into Akash, folks, you're doing yourself a disservice. You should understand what they do, and if you did, you would start acquiring it. Akash is a absolute 30-40 year runway in front of it. It is monstrous what they do.
This is AI play, right?
It's actually a compute play. So if you understand what compute is, electricity running through a processor, powering software, AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, they're the big boys right now. They provide the oil for the world's data, right? Well, Akash is a decentralized version of that. So they get compute resources from all over the world and make them available to anybody who plugs into their network.
Right.
Well, if you understand compute and you understand this is what Compute Portal is built on, is this premise that the demand for compute outstrips, the supply for compute is not relative to the demand. And so demand is outstripping supply, and it will be that way for a long time. That's the business you want to be in. It's like Rockefeller back in the 20s. He got oil. He processed and manufactured oil and became the largest corporation, largest, wealthiest man in the world, because the world adopted oil as its energy source. Well, the world is going digital. Everything is going digital. What do you think drives that? It's electricity running through a processor, powering software. You need that tech stack.
Yeah, and that's why people are crushing it on NVIDIA, because they need that processor. Yeah, I gotcha.
And people are crushing it with new electrical generation, and people are crushing it with great software like ChatGPT and Perplexity and blah, 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 blah.
That's it. Hey, Danny Garcia's here. I haven't seen him in a while. Hey, Danny.
Danny!
And Danny brings up a good point. Who remembers the metaverse? Then AI, and then AI. But remember, the reason I brought up what Danny says is, who remembers the metaverse? I remember a lot of people getting rich off the metaverse. Remember when Facebook was called Facebook, and then they changed it to Meta, and all the metaverse projects went crazy? And do you remember remember that?
What?
Big stuff. It's narratives if you're a gambler. Narratives on the short term, you can crush it, but you got to be ahead of it. So metaverse, I remember everybody wanted the metaverse. I do remember, though, that a couple people came out and said, if the metaverse is there's nothing really special about them, and anybody can just kind of spin those up. So why would you invest into digital land when you can just make more digital land? And I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm going to invest a little in metaverse. And of course I lost on that one. But now we're in AI. I think AI has more running room, especially as we see everything that's coming out with AI and how it's going to either build us up or enslave us in some way. I think AI will be the play this cycle. Let's see. And do you guys hold WIF? Is this dog WIF hat? I don't own that. Metaverse is just pre-staged open world gaming. That's true. It just depends on how long you gotta wait.
It's an interesting play. Like, I put $58,000 into a small portfolio of gaming type things. It's now worth $5,200. I did that obviously in December of 2021 at the peak of madness. But when you think about this for a minute, gaming is the #1 form of entertainment on the planet. It has surpassed streaming services and regular cable television and movies and things of that nature. And if that is true, then there is a chance that one of these gaming companies is going to launch a game that reaches 1 billion people, and that project will do very well and become very successful.
That's just it. Which one is it going to be? Because I've heard that as well, as like, this is the one, this is the one, this is the one. I think there's one called Off the Grid, built on Avalanche. I think is doing great. I think it's available in different formats and platforms. I know Stash is always talking about it. So maybe that's the big one, but I don't know if that's the big one, right? It's not, we need a Minecraft level game. That would be the big thing.
Exactly. We need a Fortnite.
Jerry, let's see.
that the
What's
church?
That's your is that your church bell? Is that an ice cream truck? What is that? Okay. How about how about Kopi on Cardano? That's a good one. The currency Kopi, currency of the internet. The train is back. Choo choo. New Type says it's better. It's just better to own Microsoft and PlayStation stock and just wait until they pivot to Web3, which they eventually will. I think this is where people come out risk versus reward. You know, because like you can say, like in crypto is a prime example. You can say, well, the next Ethereum killer is going to be this layer 1 solution, or the next Ethereum killer is going to be that. And then you can do okay. You know, you get into, first you go into Cardano, and then maybe you went into Solana, and then you got into Luna. And then you lost everything in Luna because you're like, this was supposed to be the Solana Ethereum killer. What the hell happened? And it just goes to show you that you can never win. Sometimes it's better just be a little bit safer. We'll see. Jerry is streaming from a train carriage. Jerry has to keep his expenses low.
Damn.
So
I gotta buy more stuff. I got more crypto to buy.
how about this one? Brody says, do you think DeFi plays will be the first wave of gains after ETH breaks 4K? That's a good one.
That's a tough. See, here's the thing about DeFi, and I've thought about this a lot. DeFi is predicated on transaction fees. Transaction fees are predicated on volume, number of users.
Right.
And here's the thing. I'm not seeing the industrial adoption of DeFi. It seems to be primarily a retail environment, right? TradFi is doing crypto stuff in a TradFi legacy process. Sure. And so I don't know. Gosh, I don't know. It's a hard one for me to wrap my mind around. Will TradFi adopt DeFi, or will TradFi just tokenize TradFi?
I think, well, in the short term, TradFi will tokenize TradFi, I think. And then what it'll come down to is we need clarity. And that bill, the clarity bill, I guess that's going to go back to the Senate. And we have until the end of August. Trump said he wants that on his desk to be signed by end of August. So we got a whole other month and some change before that goes through. And then after that goes through, then we'll have to see, you know, how they actually implement it, because it's not like just from day one we flip a switch like everybody thought. They're just going to flip a switch, and that's not how it works. I think it's going to take a longer time than what people think about. So it's important to follow the rules, take some profits along the way. There's going to be some black swans, and don't go crazy. As long as you have the freedom to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, with who you want to do it. And sometimes that takes a little bit of cashola. So just remember, sometimes it's not all about like just, you know, diamond hand to death or something. Ooh. Ask the Luna people; they'll tell you. What's your best crypto purchases as of today? Do you do the DCA thing, Jerry, or are you just like
not every day? I only do it when cash comes into my world. I have this kind of thing where if, like, let's say you sent me $1. Right? Okay. I would accept the dollar. Thank you very much. I'd give thanks for that. And then I would take 10 cents of that, and that goes into my future fund. And that is, I'm going to allocate this somewhere. It's going to become an investment. Most of the time, it's a crypto project, right? It's something that's in my portfolio that I'm trying to increase, or it's something that's come across my desk that is like, you know what, you should get some of that. And that's how I do it. That's my version of DCA. When new money comes in, I take 10 cents for every dollar and it goes somewhere. And I live on my 90% and allocate it to my other things.
Yeah, but I mean, you live in Costa Rica. It's so cheap there. That's what people live in a dream.
Relative to you, it is. When you've been here for a while,
yeah,
you get all that same U.S. mentality followed me, right? I look at my papaya and I'm going, 35 cents. This was 32 cents last week, you crooks.
No kidding. That's insane. That's insane. Speaking of global tracking, Michael says IMF equals commie globalist. I can't argue with him. And he says his wife is Salvadorian, so IMF is pure evil. Well, they are the economic hitmen, right? I don't know if you guys have ever seen that documentary. Oh, Economic hitman. Yeah, definitely for sure. David says, hello from Washington. Ada, BC, Algorand, Stellar, XRP. Stellar, XLM. That's a... Oh, and this was an interesting one. So you know how Robinhood, they chose Ethereum Layer 2 Arbitrum to digitize their stocks. And that pretty much lit a fire under everybody who was talking about real-world asset digitalization. And then they started to really look at Ethereum hard. And this is a question from NewType. Is the rumor true that Arbitrum used, and this is just a rumor, they used $100 million from the treasury to convince Robinhood to bill them? I'm hearing it's only a 3 to 5 year deal. First of all, if that is true, that's that's money well spent. You just locked in 3 to 5 years in the most pivotal time frame when they're digitizing everything. And we're just got clarity to do it. I would have spent double that to be on top of Robinhood.
Also, you got to remember some of that. Okay. So if that is true and they did it, and like forming a company myself, I would have structured the deal like this. We're going to allocate $100 million of development resources. So Robinhood, you don't have to spend that money. Our developers will build it for you.
Yeah.
And so it's not actually like, you know, it is a conversion because you got to take 100 million of your treasury and you got to pay your developers. Nobody works for free. But and what Rob's like, wait a second. Okay. But you know what I mean? That is, you hit it on the head. That is such an incredible deal. Why is that a deal? It's because once you build something like that, you're not going to spend 100 or 200 or $300 million to rebuild it later.
Yeah.
No, you stick with what you got. That's what made Microsoft the largest software company in the world, is because people get accustomed to it, ingrained using it, and to switch costs a whole bunch more money. You're not going to switch. Same with accounting software, big corporations with accounting software.
Well said, Jerry.
Yeah.
Well said.
The cost is too high.
Yeah. Olpa says, I'm sorry, but you two talked over each other when saying the name of Nathaniel's T project. Please repeat it.
Okay, Agent T. AGENT T. Agent T.
Agent T. This is Akash. Huh? Is it on here? It's not Agent Ted.
No, it's not Agent Ted.
Is it Talos?
It was initially called Talos.
Yeah. It's Talos you can get on MinSwap. It's up 14%.
That's the one.
Okay.
He had to change. He couldn't call it Talos on Twitter anymore. It had something. Somebody had copyright on that name somewhere, somehow. That's when he changed it to Agent T. But I think you can use TALOS as a token symbol and not be copyright infringed. You're not infringing on anybody's copyright if your token's ticker symbol is TALOS.
TALOS. Here's a good question. Any thoughts on Notcoin and Toncoin? My thoughts are like this. Toncoin, I was surprised didn't execute as well as I thought it did. Should have. It has roughly 1 billion users. I want to say 900 million, something like that, on Telegram. Telegram has it's the token of Telegram,
right?
And that would almost be like if Facebook was able to push through Libra.
Ooh,
with their 2-3 billion users. But Toncoin has underperformed. And I think it's because the founder, part of the reason, founder was incarcerated in France, going there, and he got mobbed essentially by that. And now here we are. But I just look at that and I'm like, how could this not be like way up there? Now, to be fair, it's not like Toncoin's like ranked 1,000. Toncoin is up there.
Oh my God, it's in the top 20, isn't it?
Yeah, it should be. It should still be. I just thought it was a top 10 easy. It's ranked 26.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
And what's weird is that it's over the last year, it's down 55%. So I just thought,
screwed up, Rob. Although you have a market of 1 billion people using Telegram, How many people on Telegram actually use it? I don't. I'm on Telegram every day. I never even consider using that thing.
They should. They should. Whiff is pumping. Nothing stops this train. Yeah. Jupiter, I'm more concerned about what's coming from the big banks once Clarity Act passes. Then I'll start in crypto custody their own stable coins. That's another thing. How many stable coins do we possibly need? Because I don't want a Wells Fargo coin and
we need the one that works, right? We need the one that gets market adoption and the majority of the market share. And once that's identified, then the foundational protocol that it's built on should be the one we would invest in. You and I have made bets on Tron, right? We've got some bets on Ethereum. We maybe even some of us own some of the silly little layers to things like Arbitron and Polygon and blah 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 blah. Somebody's going to grab the majority of market share, and it's going to be the ones that move the biggest amounts of money the most. So who moves the biggest amounts of money the most?
You know, I find this is from Visa on chain. So, you know, we talked about this many times. Visa is tracking the stablecoin market because they want to be part of the stablecoin market. They don't want to be blockbustered. You know, they want to be a part of this. Mm-hmm. So when I take a look at stablecoin transaction volume, I think this is a bigger indicator because the top three are Tron, Ethereum, Binance, Smart Chain. And on that is 287 billion for Tron. That's a lot. That's number one. And I think it's number one most. It's either Ethereum or Tron. They always flip. It's Tron or Ethereum. Let me see how far I can go back. It's all Tron or Ethereum. What the hell? I thought this was, oh, look at that. Even back to 2020, it was just Tron or Ethereum. Huh, I didn't know that. But yeah, the transaction volume. But if we take a look at transaction count, this is the one where things get kind of wonky because up here, you've got Tron, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, then Solana, but it drops off way far. Binance Smart Chain is on 175. Next one is 239 billion, 287 billion. And then Solana is 30 billion. And base and so on and so forth, which is, I mean, it's nothing that's pretty good. But then the transaction count, I guess they're still up there. 85, 46, 13 million. 13 million. And that's the thing about Solana is that they have all these like micro transactions. And people will talk about transactions per second and voting blocks. That's the thing that kind of confuses me. Anyhow, Jerry, do you follow any of that stuff?
I do, and I will tell you, I thank goodness for my little mobile perplexity.
That's what it is.
Of the 10 largest FX traders, and FX is the largest market of dollars, right?
Right.
Dollars moving around. JP Morgan, UBS, Deutsche Bank, XTX Markets, Citibank, HSBC, just the top 6. Find out what protocols their stable coins are going to be running on.
Right.
That's how I would start to, if I was going to make a play in that industry, that's how I would go about doing it. Who's going to have the largest volumes of movement of the stable coin, and then find out what protocol their stable coins are going to be built on.
Yeah, makes sense.
Find out if their stablecoin movement requires a digital asset for fuel. And if that's true, like you need a little bit of Ethereum to move an Ethereum transaction, you need a little bit of Tron to move a Tron. Those are the ones that I would want to be part of because they're going to have the largest volumes of the largest amounts. So
find out which one's the winner early.
Or at least go after who has the market share today. That might change over time, but
sure,
you at least have a good head start on the rest of the people who are just looking at crypto numbers from the crypto bros, right? Crypto transactions are not the world's FX market. Crypto transactions are not the world's loan repayment US dollar or the euro dollar market. They are not that. Crypto is crypto.
Crypto is, it's its own pot. Speaking of crypto is crypto, this is a good, I have to do a video on this. David says, And this is
Ooh.
for Americans. 1099 DA requirement. Exchanges are now obligated to report all crypto movements in and out to the IRS with wallet addresses. They didn't used to do this before, and this just came into, I believe, this year.
It is.
So for our next round in 2026, when we're doing our taxes for 2025, we need to make sure that we know this. And the thing is I use CoinLedger. Let me just show everybody. So if you're worried about that, just make this super simple. There's a website called CoinLedger.
They're excellent.
And up here, they have this thing called a portfolio tracker. And I need to do a video about that too. Damn it. Hold on. CoinLedger. And the reason why is because if you have a portfolio tracker, it can show you what your profits and loss are across multiple wallets, exchanges, decentralized exchanges, and everything else in between. So if you have that already in there, you'll know when to A, take profits, and B, when the time comes to actually, let me show you. B, when the time comes to actually do your reporting, everything's already there. So you don't have a big ass headache. Let's see. Jerry, do you use any portfolio trackers? You just kind of like, just take a look at the wallets.
Yours. You're the one, the CoinLedger you referred me to months and months and months ago. I used forever Live Coin Watch.
Yeah.
Live Coin Watch. And that served me very, very well. But it's an isolated thing, although you can get you can get the spreadsheet version of it, right?
Yeah.
That you can then put into the other software to send off to your crypto accountant. But this streamlines that process even more.
Yeah. Hey, one thing before that, David says the IRS can use blockchain data to allow the money. So much for privacy, Fourth Amendment. I think no, per se, because people are like, the IRS. I think they do that with everything, essentially, especially if you're doing stocks. So they're going to probably roll that out. I mean, that's already been ingrained into equities anyhow. But anyhow, back to this CoinLedger thing. You import your public wallets, and you can give them access to Coinbase. It's just a read only. I've been using this for 5 years. It's fine. It'll tell you all the transactions. You get the tax reports here, and this is a dummy account, so it's a pretty nice account though. And here's your portfolio, and it'll tell you your unrealized returns and your losses, which ones are sucking, and so if you have this portfolio, and it's free, the portfolio is free. The tax report's like $100, and that's the one that I use. I just printed. I just give access to my CPA, and then they do their magic. Yeah, that's it. Let's see. Chris says Solana started stablecoins more recently. They are catching up. I think they started in like 2023. At least that's what the data has on that Visa. So maybe they'll catch up. Like Jerry said, whatever has market cap now doesn't mean it's going to have market cap in the future.
Meta Girl has a good one. I can speak to that for a couple.
I wish Jerry would talk.
How I feel about living in Costa Rica. Do I feel safe there? I will tell you, it was a little daunting at first going to a country that didn't understand the language. And I will tell you, when you are in the densely populated urban center, San Jose, there are a lot of people trying to take advantage of the tourists because tourists are not going to be there very long. So therefore, they're very easy targets. You get out of that, and I'm out of that. I'm in the country. The people are the most genuine, honest, wonderful. It's safer to live here than it was in Northern California. Generally, I love it. It's the best decision I ever made.
Yeah, Mike says my cousin's got 300 acres and lives there. Costa Rica is amazing.
It's phenomenal. Property rights are as solid as in the United States. Organic, clean, healthy food is cheaper than the processed garbage because of the import taxes for all the chemical inputs. If you wanted to do agriculture like in the United States, it would cost more money. So people compost here. Everybody grows something around here, and they exchange and they trade, and they have little farmers markets and little vegetable and fruit stands and stuff. It's the greatest. I love it.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
I ever made.
Let's. This is nice. That sounds good. Lastly, Doc Torres says, "I'm willing to go to jail." Many aren't. And then
Did
Mullet
Doc
says,
wake up
with,
violent? Did Doc wake up violent today?
Doc woke up and shows violence, and Mullet's like, "I'm not going to do that." So look, here's the thing: the IRS sucks, and tax collection sucks, but they're going to get you. So just make it easy on yourself and report, and then move off grid like Jerry or something. But that's it. We're coming up on an hour. I got a lot of things. I know people got to go. So Jerry, thanks for showing up again on a Sunday. We appreciate you.
These have been fun. Thank you. You have a very warm and welcoming audience, and I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you very much.
They are the best. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one. Adios.